So Joshua Cody is my name. This is the Colorado Farm Brewery, and it's located in extreme south central Colorado in the San Luis Valley in Alamosa, Colorado. And I am the brewmaster and co-owner with my family and some neighbors. And it's located on the original family homestead where my great-grandparents homesteaded in the 1930s. And so we actually make fully farm-to-table beer where everything comes from the property. As far as I know, we're the only people really making 100% estate beer in the world, which is a big claim, but it could be true. But it's definitely, if there's anybody else doing it like we're doing it, I would be surprised. We grow all the grain here, we malt it here, we roast it here, all of our specialty malts. We grow hops on site. We also have a wild yeast strain, a Saccharomyces cerevisiae strain that we use for brewing in-house. And the well water is what makes the beer. So 100% of the property, 100% of the beer is made with estate ingredients that way. And so I don't know anybody else that does that. And so it's a pretty interesting business model though, that presents some unique challenges. And so what we eventually did was we have beers on tap that are 100% estate, and then we have other beers that we brew on site as well. The grain all comes from here, and some of the hops. But we also use other yeasts, but all the water comes from here. And so all of the beer comes from the property, and some of it is 100% from the property. And so that's really the business model. What makes us unique though also is that we're located at Colorado Malting Company. And so we actually have a facility here where we malt barley, wheat, and rye for microbreweries and distilleries all over the world, actually. And we've been doing that for about 12 years. And so we decided to try this brewery idea. It was partly I guess you could call it a collaboration with neighbors. Some of our local neighbors here, they also grew barley. They'd also been here for 3 or 4 generations. And we had the idea of growing the grain and making the beer all on site. And we kind of imagined the way that vineyards operate, the idea that you actually go to the place where the grapes are grown to make wine. Maybe we could do that with beer. And since the San Luis Valley is world renowned for growing world-class malting grains, especially barley malt, Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado has grown barley here for over 100 years. And my great-grandfather actually started growing barley for Coors Brewing Company on the same property we grow our barley for our brewery now, which is a really cool story. Actually, which is a good story because the conversation went something like this. So you're the Colorado Farm Brewery? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you actually on a farm? And I was like, yes. And they're like, oh, thank God. Okay, we should work together. And that's basically how it got launched, because what I learned is people call themselves farm breweries, which is quite popular in craft beer now. But whether or not they're located on a farm is another story. They might just be connected to a farm, or possibly in somebody's old farm property that is in an urban sprawl somewhere, and parking RVs and having places for people to camp in an actually agricultural environment is challenging. And so it was a pleasure for me to say yes to that. And it was a phone call that came to me. And it has been an absolute blessing for us. We have had the most amazing people come to this place and stay. People from all over the world, actually, but mostly the United States. And they come, and it's been awesome for them to learn about who we are, and then they bring their stories too. And it's really a beautiful thing that way. I had never actually, we've only been in business 3 years, and we got started with it right away in 2019, I think it was. So we've had it this is our 3rd year, going into our 3rd year with Harvest Host. And at first I was like, we'll see how this goes, you know? We live in a climate where it's not always great to camp. Like, honestly, like we have people say, we have people ask us, we have a tent, can we have a tent? And I'm like, definitely you can pitch a tent, but the wind might blow 40 miles an hour, just to warn you. Or it might be minus 30 Fahrenheit outside, just to warn you. And people are surprisingly hardy anyway. I mean, people that camp, there's a person that loves camping, and that person is oftentimes a person that embraces challenges and sees it as an opportunity to learn. And that is the kind of people that come here and have spent time here. And it has been a wonderful kind of symbiotic thing where it's very low key for us. People come and we're like, yeah, find a spot wherever you want to be. So yeah, substantial. I would not call the revenue substantial yet, although it's growing, and every year it has grown. And so that's nice to see. You know, as a business owner, when things are moving up, you kind of look at them again. And so the first year it was actually, I think we did a percentage sale, and it was less than 2% of the gross sales went out to Harvest Host customers. And we kind of laughed like, well, it's been fun to meet some new people though. You know, that was literally the attitude at first. But then the second year, especially in the summertime and in the end of the summer, I've noticed August, September, we have people that are either from all over the country coming out of the mountains, kind of heading back east or heading south into Texas. And those people find a spot here. And we'll have 8, 10, sometimes 12 campers in our parking lot in a given night. And so those nights, it's definitely nice to be connected, because what I've learned is that we have had amazing success with people willing to patronize our business. We don't charge anything, but we also don't provide a whole lot of services. You know, people got to be fully contained to be here. And so we kind of say, hey, we're not going to charge you, but at least come in and check it out. And thankfully, people have been very willing to do that. And surprising amount of people drink beer with Harvest Hosts. And so it's a win-win. I mean, they come in and they like the beer, they're camping right here, and we sell beer out, we sell it in growlers, we sell it in bottles, and if they like it enough, maybe they'll take a bottle or two to their camper when they leave. And it really is a nice environment that way. Also, there's an amazing amount of Harvest Host people with children, and when they come, they have a place to play. And they're usually pleasantly surprised, like, whoa, there's a place to play here. And that's really nice. Excellent, absolutely excellent. We have had 0 problems. We've had 0 people here frustrated, angry. We've had 0 people here that complain. Like one time I had a lady tell me, oh, I don't like beer. That was about the worst I got. Like really, like people are literally that open to it. They come in and they're like, there's something about being on the road like that you just come into a business and I'm not charging them, which is a nice start. Like when I think about it, like if I was in their shoes, they're pulling in my yard and they're like, hey, where do I park? And I'm like, oh, over there. And they go find a spot to park, and that's not costing them anything. That already sets the tone for how they come at me. And I think that connection is actually really good. Like, that's just my opinion. And I could never imagine charging people to stay here for that reason. Because right away, the expectation is, hey, we want to support you. Rather than, hey, we're paying for something, give me something. And the whole paradigm is shifted that way, because the commercial end of it can happen where it should happen. And that's in the product that I provide. And in my ethics, that's where the commerce should change hands. That's where the money should change hands. Because if I'm providing a service and something that they're consuming, that makes sense to me. And it doesn't bother me that they're parked on the property. You know, that isn't what this is about. And so that connection, they come to me already ready to meet me, to know me, to ask my name and shake my hand. And that connection's made almost every single time. And we have had such amazing people. And we've had people that have come planning to stay a Thursday night, meet my parents, meet me, have some beers with us, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna stay one more night. And I'm like, you're welcome to. And literally, I've had that happen, and it's like, it's just the highest caliber of people. And it's funny, because it is a different lifestyle than one that I've ever lived. People, especially that are on the road over a long period of time, it's like, I've never lived like that. And although it intrigues me, because the attitude that comes out of those campers is so positive and so happy. And I think there must be something to it. You know, that's the truth. There must be something to it. Harvest Host is a win-win for any small business. It brings people to you with the right attitude, with the right ideas. It gives you the opportunity to connect with people from all over everywhere, and new customers that you could have never reached any other way. In that way, it's a win-win for both businesses. And I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't want to do it. The quality of people that come in with Harvest Hosts are just of the highest caliber. They're engaging, interested, intellectual people. Like, there's been no exceptions in 3 years of business. And it actually adds so much value to your business. It also gives you the opportunity to tell people about Harvest Hosts because you're involved. And so people that, like for me, I have people say, hey, can we camp here? And it gives me an answer to that question. Rather than like, I don't know, where do you come from, you know? Instead, I'm like, hey, you should do this, and then you can come back and participate. And it gives them a way to pursue it if they're serious, if it's not just a flippant question. And I like the idea that I have an answer to that question, because there's nothing worse than being a business owner and being asked a question you don't have an answer to. That's just a crappy feeling, you know? And so you don't want to be there. And so for me, it's a win-win for both businesses. There's no question about it.